Hi friends, welcome back. My name's Angel. Today we're going to be thrifting for some Pottery Barn inspired Christmas decor. I always love everything at Pottery Barn, but sometimes the prices can be just a little bit steep for the budget. So I thought that we would go out, take a look at some things that we've been loving, and see what we can come up with thrifting and DIYing. So let's get started. Browsing Pottery Barn's website, I really was drawn to all of the fir tree skirts and these new woven and grapevine tree collars that we're seeing. I wanted a layered look with both of those that you see a lot on the designer sites. I loved this fir tree skirt and something that had kind of this vine or texture to it. So lo and behold, on one of my thrifting trips, I came across this seagrass tree collar. It was $5. I thought we couldn't pass it up to try to make a Pottery Barn dupe for that. So I brought it home, trimmed up some loose strings, and I removed the existing ribbon. I'm choosing to leave this the natural seagrass color, but if you found one of these, you could paint it white, you could stain it. There's a variety of things that you could do, as well as changing the ribbon. So I chose to add in a velvet frayed edge ribbon that I chose from Hobby Lobby this year for decorating, and I simply rewove that back into the tree collar. Once I had that done, I flipped it over, and I'm choosing to tape the ends here. You could hot glue this if you wanted, but I know myself and I'm going to want to change this at some point, and this keeps the integrity of the ribbon intact so that I can reutilize it as well. Then instead of tying the inside to keep the tree collar together, I like to use zip ties. It really holds it secure and keeps it from popping open underneath the tree, because sometimes they just don't stay together. So I went ahead and zip tied those and then clipped off the excess. And in my opinion, here is where the real magic happens. I inverted the tree collar to give it a wicker basket look when I placed it under the tree. You could also, with a smaller tree, if you wanted, utilize a lampshade in the same fashion. I then went through and added in, for that extra fur touch, a table runner that I utilized last year around the perimeter of the basket. Another classic piece of Christmas decor, in my opinion, is anything deer or antlers, and Pottery Barn never lets us down when it comes to that. So that is something that I always thrift for. So this summer, while I was out thrifting, I came across this copper-colored pair of antler pillar candle holders. They really gave me a Pottery Barn vibe or an Our House vibe, and they were very substantial and seemed very luxurious. So I brought them home and gave them a quick coat of matte black spray paint. I knew that I wanted to use some antique gold rub and buff to really accentuate all the details in the antlers. So I just patted that on after the black paint had dried, and it turned out beautiful. It gives such a luxurious Pottery Barn feel. And don't be scared off just because they're candle holders. Here you can see I've utilized them with 2 battery-operated pillars, but you could also thrift a glass cloche and put pine cones or a bottle brush tree or ornaments underneath and utilize it that way. Or you could also use rocks glasses and put tea lights in them. Pottery Barn always has a beautiful selection of tableware, and as we begin to think about entertaining, the closer we get to the holidays, I really start to focus on the glassware, dishware, and serviceware at my thrift stores. One Pottery Barn item that I fell in love with were these Stag napkin rings, but unfortunately they were limited and no longer available. So I thought that perhaps we could make our own. I purchased 6 napkin rings for $1.49 each from Hobby Lobby, and then I set about drilling holes in these plastic deer ornaments that I had on hand. Once I drilled through, I opened up the napkin rings. These napkin rings are almost like a jewelry wire, so I was able to unhook one of the wires and open it up. That gave me a straight wire to feed through the double holes that I had drilled in the Christmas tree ornament. When I marked those earlier, I drilled in one side and then the other, and then simply ran the wire through and placed the deer head flat to the front of the the napkin ring. I then reattached the wire using these pliers, and this is how they turned out. These would have been perfect to leave in the silver, but I chose to spray paint mine black. I wanted to go over to accentuate the details with this antique gold rub and buff, and it really turned out great. All of the details from the Stag show through. I think this is a great dupe for the Pottery Barn. Since we had all the materials on hand other than the napkin rings, we did these for less than $10. This next item is a beautiful green lamp.